Hello, girls and guys. I'm back. I'm sorry it's been a bit delayed, but I've had a stupid, well, not that a bug as intelligence, but yeah, it knocked me for 6. I've been pretty much in bed for the last 3 days. But I'm back. Anyway, larger than life, but still as ugly. Anyway, looking at News Weekly Awareness, and this is the attack by Hamas on the 7th of October 2023. And so much crap has been put out there by Zionists and their supporters. This has to be done, the other side. Search for the truth, not propaganda. Right, so this is it. And this was Al Jazeera investigates a R-Unit specialist in forensic investigation, and it was aired on the 20th of March 2024. So here we are. I hope you thoroughly enjoy, even though the truth will shock you, but that is the truth. So here we go.
1. We revealed how Israeli hostages were fired by Apache helicopters and tanks. The scale of destruction on October 7 suggests these may not have been isolated incidents.
All the footage I've seen of the Hamas assault across the border, across the fence into the kibbutzes, they're pretty much only armed with light weapons. This is RPGs, so rocket-propelled grenades and personal sidearms. This is taken from the inside of a house. 2 holes in the wall here. I would say probably by some sort of heavy weapon fired against the house, most probably a tank. There's no way an RPG would make that sort of damage. There's catastrophic structural damage to many of these buildings. This can only have happened by heavy weapon systems being used against the kibbutz itself.
The I-Unit calculates that 1,154 Israelis and foreign nationals are killed on October 7 and in the days immediately afterwards. Of these, 256 are soldiers. 53 belong to the police and other security forces, and 63 are civilian security guards. The remaining 782 victims are unarmed. The I-Unit's list of the dead reveals that at least 18 are killed by Israeli ground troops. A number of other bodies are recovered from beneath rubble who died in circumstances that are unclear. In the days following October 7, journalists are shown around the kibbutzim by the Israeli army.
This is something that monsters do, not humans.
Hamas fighters and others committed crimes on October 7. The Israeli media, however, focuses not on the crimes they committed, but on crimes they did not.
I'm talking to some of the soldiers, and they say what they've witnessed as they've been walking through these different houses, these different communities. Babies, their heads cut off. That's what they said. No one could expect that it would be like this. The horrors that I'm hearing from these soldiers. As I mentioned earlier, about 40 babies at least were taken out on gurneys.
The I-Unit's list of the dead shows no babies were killed in Kfar Aza, the kibbutz this report came from. A senior Israeli military officer later speaks to journalists in front of a burnt-out house in Kibbutz Be'eri. It's the house where 12 hostages appear to have been killed during the assault by the Israeli police and army.
Inside this house were another 15 burned people, among them 8 babies in this corner. They were concentrated them, and they killed them, and they burned them.
Did you see?
I evacuated.
The list of the dead shows that there were no babies in the house. And Colonel Vach does not tell journalists that the casualties are almost certainly caused by Israeli forces. 2 days later, the regional head of Zaka, a voluntary organization charged with collecting bodies, gives a different account to Sky News of what happened at the same house.
And you're talking children, 2 piles of 10 children each were tied to the back, burned to death. This is something behind, this is next level. And
I mean, it's actually indescribable. It's indescribable.
it's indescribable, and I won't describe everything that I saw.
This account is repeated by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a conversation with President Biden.
They took dozens of children, bound them up, burned them, and executed them.
The list of the dead shows 2 12-year-old twins are killed when police and army stormed the house in Be'eri. But there are no other children.
There was an interview we did with Sky Television from Britain. 2 piles, we found them in Bury. 2 piles of 10 children each were tied back to back and burned to death. Now again, I mean, if we look at the death figures at Bury, there are only 10 children that died at Bury.
Well, not children, it's 18-year-old. So we're all together. When you look at them and they're burned, you don't know exactly the ages.
It is not the only questionable story that Yossi Landau tells about Kibbutz Be'eri.
We go further. Then we see a woman. She was lying on the floor, a puddle of blood, big puddle of blood. She was a pregnant woman. Her stomach was butchered open. The baby that was connected to the cord was stabbed, and she was shot in the back.
Kibbutz Be'eri has denied this account.
The story of the pregnant woman reported by Zaka is not relevant to Be'eri.
Yossi Landau insists he witnessed this scene at Be'eri.
If you want to see the picture, I have the picture of it.
Are you able to share the photographic evidence with us?
To show you. Yes. Where's my phone? Oh, I'm sorry. I will not put it in front of the camera.
No, that's fine. I'll come and look.
This is the knife they used.
Shot, killed, but
Over here was the woman.
But that's the imagery after the bodies had been cleared away. Oh.
Yes. This is the baby. This is it.
I'm sorry to be graphic here, but I can't see a baby here.
You can't see the baby but this is the picture of the mother.
Okay.
For sure, we didn't think when we didn't think to camera everything. We didn't have that. This wasn't in our.
The photo shows an unidentifiable piece of charred flesh. The list of the dead contains no victim that fits Yossi Landau's description. On October 7th, 2 babies die. One is killed when a bullet is fired through a door. The other dies following an emergency cesarean after the mother is shot. Neither is burned or beheaded.
When you're taking babies, cutting them and tying them together and burning them to death, you're treating them less than an animal.
1,300 people dead, murdered, babies.
these bastards put these babies in an oven and put on their oven. We found the kid a few hours later.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken describes the fate of 2 small children.
A family of 4, a young boy and girl, 6 and 8 years old, and their parents around the breakfast table. The father is eye gouged out in front of his kids. The mother's breast cut off. The girl's foot amputated. The boy's fingers cut off before they were executed. And then their executioners sat down and had a meal. That's what this society is dealing with.
This story also comes from Yossi Landau and Zaka. An analysis of the evidence suggests that it is also untrue. Of the 782 unarmed victims of October 7, 36 are children, 13 under the age of 12. None died in the circumstances described by Antony Blinken. Media analyst Mark Owen Jones tracks the spread of such stories on the internet. He believes they serve a purpose.
So how, as Israel, do you create that balance in sort of saying, well, what we're doing is morally right, even though we're killing way more people? Well, you have to emphasize the brutality, because you can't say, well, we've killed less than Hamas. So how do you do it? Well, you try to make the significance of those individual deaths even more disgusting and objectionable.
In December, Benjamin Netanyahu meets with Zaka volunteers and thanks them for speaking to the world's press.
אבל אנחנו צריכים לקנות זמן. זמן אנחנו קונים על ידי פנייה גם למנהיגים וגם לדעת הקהל. ויש לכם חלק חשוב בהשפעה על דעת הקהל שמשפיע גם על מנהיגים.
It's not just stories of murdered babies and children that are open to question. Israel's head of forensics describes to Sky News the state of adult corpses he's examined.
So many bodies were shot, but before they were shot, they were cut. So it's execution style. You can see stab wounds here at the back and on the head. And if you do CT, you can see that the pelvis is shattered. These are bullets inside. So he was shot, he was stabbed, he was burned, and then he was run over.
The Israelis say they recovered numerous bodies mutilated by Hamas fighters and others. But the evidence suggests some, at least, may not be Israelis. In the aftermath of October 7, large numbers of videos of the abuse and mutilation of Palestinian corpses are posted online. The Israeli government later admits that 200 of the bodies initially identified as Israelis were in fact Palestinians.
We originally said in the atrocious Hamas attack on our people on October 7th, we had the number at 1,400 casualties, and now we've revised that down to 1,200 because we understood that we had overestimated. We made a mistake. There were actually bodies that were so badly burnt, we thought they were ours. In the end, apparently, they were Hamas terrorists.
There's a lot of evidence out there that's been produced by the Israelis, which is either contradictory or potentially self-harming. If people were saying, oh, actually, we went through the different bodies and we realized some of the burned bodies were actually Palestinians and they weren't our civilians. That begs the question, why were they burned and who burned them? How were they mutilated and who mutilated them? A proper forensic investigation would have to clarify who killed them and how they were killed.
Israel also alleges that Hamas is guilty of widespread and systematic rape. The Israeli government has published a video attacking the UN and other global institutions for what it claims is inaction and indifference to the plight of Israeli women.
I'd like to report a crime.
Yes?
I was raped.
So sorry. We're here to help. Tell us what happened.
I was at a music festival. We heard gunfire and everyone was running. I started running and then he grabbed me. He yelled something in Arabic and then he gripped my...
Sorry to interrupt you. You said he was yelling in Arabic.
Yes.
Madeline Rees is head of an international women's rights organization.
Don't take it personally. Management decided that all violence against Israelis is legitimate resistance. So sorry.
It's a very cheap shot. Immediately upon the horrific attacks on October 7th, there was a response from the UN, from the Commission of Inquiry, which already exists, to look into atrocities in the region, to say, we want to come and investigate. We are ready, we're willing, we're able to come and investigate. And that was blocked. That was blocked. And that's been blocked by Israel.
Hamas denies that rapes occurred on October 7.
In no case there was a proof that there was a rape. In no one case.
But there are those who say they witnessed women being raped. One is a survivor from the music festival who says he saw a group of Palestinian civilians surrounding a woman.
היו כזה במין חצי מעגל סביבה, וזה היה בערך 30-40 מטר מאיתנו. תופסים אותה שלא תזוז, משתלטים עליה. אני כזה מסתכל בין העלים, בין הענפים, והם התחילו למשוך אותה מכל מקום, והפשיטו אותה. זה היה אונס.
The Israeli police presents an anonymous witness who described a separate rape also at the music festival.
היא הייתה בחיים, הבחורה שהם אנסו?
כן. היא הייתה בחיים. היא לא לבושה. והוא חותך לה את השד. הוא חותך לה את השד, הוא זורק את זה על הכביש, הם משחקים עם זה.
In another interview, this witness says she saw a total of 5 women raped and gunmen walking around with the severed heads of 3 women. But no forensic evidence of sexual violence has been produced. A website created by the Israeli government to document atrocities on October 7 contains just one video indicative of rape. It features the body of a young woman lying by a roadside 14 kilometers north of the site of the music festival. She is wearing no underwear. In December, this story formed the centerpiece of a New York Times investigation. But the report was undermined when the woman's sister posted on Instagram that it was untrue.
Yes, they raped, but in the case of my sister, no.
The family denied that she'd been raped. They said it would have been really difficult for her to have been raped because she was in contact with them during Hamas's attack, and that her last correspondence with them was probably about 4 minutes before she was reportedly killed, right? And so they sort of say, how could she have been, shot, burnt, and raped within the space of 4 minutes? It didn't make sense.
It is controversial. It is hard-hitting. That's the whole point of my reporting, to call out inaccuracies. And as Adolf Hitler, and yes, I will use this as an example, said, if you're going to lie, make sure it's a whopper, a big one, and you repeat. So the whole thing is not to shock, though it does. It's to get you thinking and view the other side. Because actions have been taken around the world based on these lies. Tens of thousands are dead because of these lies. All right, that's it for now.